Hi everyone, welcome back to Next Simple Lab. If you've ever tried to build a flowchart manually in Excel, PowerPoint, or even Visio, you know how time-consuming it can be. Every time the data changes, you have to move shapes, reconnect arrows, and fix the layout all over again. And when your process gets more complex, more steps, more branches, things quickly become messy and hard to maintain. In this tutorial, I'll show you a much easier approach. I'll show you how to automatically generate a flowchart directly from an Excel table where each step is clearly defined in the data. All right, let's jump straight into how this works. Let me introduce Flowchart V2, an upgraded version that comes with 6 built-in algorithms designed to handle almost any type of flowchart, from simple linear processes to more complex decision-based workflows. Right now, I have an Excel table that describes the steps of a flowchart for a recipe app user journey. Each row represents a single step in the workflow. Let me quickly walk you through the columns. First, we have StepID, which uniquely identifies each step in the process. Next is StepType. This defines the shape of the step based on standard flowchart conventions like process, decision, start, or end. Then we have description, which is the text that will appear inside each shape. These next columns, yes, no, and other, define what happens next. They tell the system which step ID to move to, depending on the flow. And finally, we have 2 optional but very powerful columns. Label, which lets you name the connector, and connector color, which controls the color of each connection. Once your data is ready, this is where the magic happens. You don't need to draw anything manually. All you need to do is choose one of the 6 algorithms, and the flowchart will be generated automatically. For this example, we'll start with the first algorithm, which works perfectly for simple flowcharts like this one. I'll just click the Create Flowchart button, and that's it. With this first algorithm, the flowchart is drawn vertically from top to bottom. The layout and shape positions are calculated automatically to minimize connector crossings, making the diagram clean and easy to read. If you want to fine-tune the layout, that's very easy to do as well. You can simply drag any shape to a new position, and even adjust where the connectors attach to each shape. After making those changes, just click the Reset YN Position button. This will automatically realign all yes, no, and other labels, so everything stays clean and readable. Next, let's take a look at algorithm number 2, which is designed for more complex flowcharts. Then I'll replace the existing table with a new one. This time, it describes an order packaging and delivery flow. Now, all you need to do is select algorithm 2 from the list. Let's see how this flowchart looks. I'll click the Create Flowchart button right below, and that's it. With algorithm 2, the shapes are positioned in a way that minimizes connector, overlaps, as much as possible, even when the workflow has many branches and decision points. The connectors are also drawn automatically instead of using Excel's default elbow connectors. Now, if you like this layout but prefer to use elbow connectors or curved connectors, you can switch to algorithm 5 or algorithm 6. These 2 algorithms are actually built on top of algorithm 2, but give you more control over the connector style while keeping the same optimized layout. Next, we'll move on to algorithms 3 and 4, which handle flowcharts in a slightly different way and are useful for other types of workflows. All right, now let's move on and try algorithm number 3. I'll start by replacing the current data with a new flowchart called Emergency Department Patient Treatment Workflow. Then next, I'll select algorithm 3 and then click Create Flowchart. This time, the flowchart is drawn horizontally from left to right. This layout works especially well when you want to follow the process in a more natural reading direction or when a vertical layout starts to feel too tall. And if you want to take better advantage of the available screen space, you can try algorithm number 4, which allows the flowchart to be laid out in 2 directions. Let's take a look at that next. Next, let's try algorithm number 4 with a flowchart called Feature Request Evaluation and Development Workflow. I'll go back to the data sheet and replace the current table with this new one. Now, I'll select algorithm 4 and click the Create Flowchart button right below. As you can see, this flowchart is drawn in 2 directions and it expands toward the right, which helps you make better use of the available screen space. This algorithm does have a few limitations, when some connector positions may not look perfect right away. But that's not a problem. You can simply adjust the shapes or connectors manually, and then click Reset YN Position. all the labels will automatically realign, and the flowchart will look clean again. All right, so that was a high-level overview of what Flowchart V2 can do. Now let's move into a more detailed walkthrough of how to actually use Flowchart V2 in practice. In this section, I'll cover 5 key areas. 1. Data input and the data sheet will look at how to enter your data and how the data sheet is structured to define each step of your flowchart. 2. Settings sheet, where you can control different layout and behavior options for the flowchart. 3. Flowchart sheet features, including features like export to PDF, export to Word, PowerPoint, and multiflow. 4. Expanding a flowchart, how to extend an existing flowchart so you can add more steps without rebuilding everything from scratch. 5. Building complex flowcharts with multiflow. 1. Data input. Let's start with the first part, data input and the data sheet. To help avoid errors when generating a flowchart, I've built a small validation tool that checks your input data before anything is drawn. Right now, I'm using a simple flow table, just like the one you see here. When I click the Create Flowchart button, you'll notice that if there's any issue with the data, the problematic cells are highlighted in red, along with a clear explanation of what needs to be fixed. For example, here you can see that step 3 is duplicated and there's also a gap between step 9 and step 12. Once the issues are fixed, I'll click Create Flowchart again. And as you can see, when the data is valid, the flowchart is generated successfully. Let's go back to the data sheet for a moment. Here, I'll add a label with the value Start. For the connector color, I have 2 options. I can either use a standard color name, like red, or I can manually fill a custom color. All right, now I'll click Create Flowchart. Once the flowchart is successfully created, you'll notice that the label automatically changes to Start, and the connector color is updated as well. Now let's go back to the data sheet. You'll see 2 important settings, spacing X and spacing Y. These values control the horizontal and vertical distance between shapes in the flowchart. Adjusting these settings gives you more space for complex diagrams or a more compact layout for simpler flows. Next, we'll take a closer look at the settings sheet. To do that, just click Open Settings. The settings sheet controls all the visual properties of the flowchart shapes, including shape size, text color, fill color, and outline color. Everything is centralized here so you can customize the appearance of your flowchart quickly and easily without touching the drawing logic. Let me show you an example. I'll change the fill color of the decision shape to green and set the text color to white. Now, I'll go back to the data sheet and click Create Flowchart. And as you can see, all decision shapes in the flowchart update automatically and match exactly what we defined in the settings sheet. Next, let's take a look at the features available in the flowchart sheet. First, we have the Copy All Shapes button. When you click this button, all shapes in the flowchart are automatically selected and copied. If you want, you can also group the shapes first, which makes it even easier to copy and reuse the entire flowchart. After that, you can simply open PowerPoint or Word and paste, and you're done. Next is Export to PDF. Just click the button, choose where you want to save the file, and then click Save. In a few seconds, the entire flowchart is exported as a PDF with sharp and high-quality visuals, perfect for sharing or documentation. And finally, there's the Add to Multiflow button. We'll take a deeper look at the multiflow feature in the next section. So for now, let's move on and explore that part in more detail. Expanding a flowchart is actually very simple. First, you just need to add the new steps directly into the data sheet. In my case, I'll be adding new steps from step 14 all the way down to step 24. Next, I'll place step 14 next to step 10, which allows me to extend the existing flowchart instead of creating a separate one. To make the changes easier to see, I'll change all connector colors to green. Once the data is ready, I'll click Create Flowchart, and that's it. The flowchart is automatically extended to include the new steps, while keeping the existing structure completely intact. Next, I'll show you how to build complex flowcharts using the multiflow feature. When a flowchart becomes too large or too complex, it's usually a good idea to break it down into smaller, more manageable flows. You can even use AI tools to help analyze and split a large process into multiple smaller flowcharts. In this example, I've already divided the original workflow into 4 separate tables, each representing a smaller flow. Let's start by drawing flowchart number 1. I'll generate the flowchart as usual. As you can see, step 3, 12, and step 9 appear as incomplete steps. That's because they are meant to be connected to other flows, but the connections haven't been defined yet. To handle this, I'll click Add to Multiflow. Then I'll go back to the data sheet to draw the next flow. Now, I'll connect step 12 to the empty target step. If we continue, you'll notice that step 19, 26, 17, and step 29 are also not connected yet. We'll repeat the same process, drawing each flow and linking the missing steps together. Once all the missing steps are connected, we end up with a complete and fully connected flowchart, even though it was built from multiple smaller flows. This approach makes it much easier to manage, update, and scale complex workflows. All right, this video has been quite a long one, so thank you very much for watching until the end. If you'd like to use Flowchart V2, you can find the link in the video description below. And if you found this helpful, feel free to leave a comment, share the video, and let me know what you'd like to see next. Thanks again, and I'll see you in the next video.